In 1973, Atari released Pong Doubles, which was basically just Pong, but doubled. From there, cooperative play has evolved into couch play, split screen, and completely online. Some games are built entirely off of co-op, while others include it as a fun alternative to mix things up. And then we have this. For such a major feature introduced since the beginning of the game, crossplay co-op let you play with your friends no matter where they were and no matter what platform they were on. That was it. No more installments, no more features. In fact, the last time co-op got an update was back in 2.7, and it was literally just one optimization. Co-op has never gotten any kind of substantial upgrade, making it basically pointless. The only thing we've gotten are temporary co-op events, which can be fun, but a lot of players would rather just do them themselves if they had the choice. So there's basically no reason to play co-op apart from I want to. But to be fair, let's start off with the good things, the things that you can only do in co-op. That's it. But my problem with co-op isn't just that there's nothing new, it's that it feels like the game doesn't want me to play co-op at all. When you're in co-op, even as the host, you cannot unlock statues of the Seven, talk to Catherine, talk to shop owners, complete Archon quests, complete story quests, use passive abilities, play specific challenges, fight against Storm Terror, and finally, do f***ing anything. Everything is just so inconvenient about co-op that it needs too many small changes and a major change for people to actually want to play it. First off, let's go over the basic things. The ability to ping someone is something so valuable and so simple to produce since it's literally already in the game. It can just be a copy and paste of the oculi from the minimap, except you can send it to your teammates whenever. On the same idea, pinging someone in the distance is exactly what it sounds like. This would just make co-op way more enjoyable. The ability to request to redo a domain would also be one of the greatest quality of life changes ever. Just these three things would make co-op a much more enjoyable experience, but there can obviously be way more done with it. Co-op needs a major update. And no, I'm not talking about raids. Co-op can be laggy and annoying to fight enemies in, and relying on your teammates to synergize with you never ends well. Can you play a healer? Or should I just play Yao? No! So I believe a slightly different approach would be interesting. This idea that I have is heavily inspired by Bloons TD6 and It Takes Two. It Takes Two is a classic co-op game where one player does actions on their side to help another player on the other side. In Bloons TD6, you drop monkeys which pop balloons. If those balloons make it to the end of the track, you lose. However, there's a special quest to celebrate the game's birthday. In this quest, you have infinite lives, meaning you literally cannot die. To beat the quest, you have to pop this balloon 10 times within a certain time limit, and each time you defeat it, it gets slightly stronger. So how does this relate to Genshin? This idea will essentially be a boss rush where the enemy's attack is reduced to 0. In other words, you can't die. One player will enter this boss rush, while the other will enter a mixture of challenges and abyss. Every time the player on this side beats a floor, they'll be able to choose between 3 cards like in Abyss or Theater. These cards will benefit the player in the boss rush. At any point in time, either player can switch characters at the cost of restarting their boss or floor. And at any point in time, either player can request to switch sides at the cost of restarting the current boss or floor. The game ends after some timer, let's just say 7 minutes. You'll get rewards based on how many bosses you can defeat. It's worth noting that both sides will still be able to use 4 characters of their own, just like how you can use 4 in the Abyss even if you're in co-op. There's a few reasons why I really like this idea. First, it minimizes latency issues for people with poor connections. Since you can't actually interact directly with the other players, ping issues won't be that big of a problem. It also minimizes the chances of roadblocks. For example, I don't actually have any 5-star pyro characters, so trying to speedrun the cryohypostasis would be pretty bad for me. However, I do know someone with a pretty good Hu Tao that would absolutely eat it alive. Because of the existence of the second floor, AoE characters like Venti will see plenty of use time, while single target characters like Kanich will see plenty of use in the boss rush. Having the game end with a timer is something I really want to see as well. Giving people the ability to keep going will let us find out about the true potential of their account. And I mean, don't you want to see how high of a score some people like this can get? And lastly, going full offense is just fun. Not having to worry about bringing a healer or shielder or picking a defensive option allows for fun teams to be realistic without being a god at dodging. But I mean, I'm not a game designer. I'm just a guy with some ideas. There are a few issues that I can already see. For starters, how can we make this new game mode be playable in single player? Should it even be playable in single player, or should a random matchmaking be made available like in co-op events? If that's the case, then how do you reduce toxicity as much as possible? What happens if we have 3 or 4 players? Should this only be available for strictly 2 players? There are some points that I couldn't figure out on my own, but if we, yes, you and me, come up with good solutions, then maybe Hoyo will actually take inspiration from us. So feel free to comment about any criticisms or suggestions with my idea. I'd love to see what you guys think. As for how this new game mode would rank in difficulty compared to Abyss or Theater, I'm thinking the maximum Primogem rewards should be easy enough to come by, maybe along the same DPS checks as 6-starring Floor 12. Keep in mind that it would be way easier to reach this though, since you literally can't die. But to incentivize players to keep going, maybe after every 3 bosses defeated, you'll get some Mora, XP books, Artifact XP, generic stuff like that. So this is actually where the video was supposed to end, but the recent event is actually kind of similar to my idea but in single player, so yeah, that's cool. Let me know if you guys think it would work well in co-op.